It feels like it's been forever since we've done this. We
You
took
know,
off Thursday, and
a lot of things in the last few weeks have started to feel like forever, or maybe just the end of times.
all right, checking in 2 weeks since 10-10. How are you feeling 2 weeks later?
Will it forever be 10-10 like 9/11 or
I think so. And it's funny. I pointed this out on USfanTV.com. 10-10 was also Landon Donovan's final game in Connecticut a couple
ooh,
years before that, 3 years before that. So 10-10 has some
deep significance?
deep significance, yes, with
Burning evil
the 10-10
significance?
failure, yes. Um, yeah, it's, I'll tell you what's different. And we should say, this is US Fan TV. I am Pat. He is Chris.
That is correct. I am.
I can confirm that. This is a show where we talk about the United States men's national team and their players and soccer in the U.S. and all sorts of things. Not going to be talking about the national team a whole lot
Do
for
we
obvious
have a
reasons,
national
but
team?
we do apparently. We have a women's national team. They're pretty good.
That's
Um,
true. That's true. Youth teams, Paralympic teams.
somebody joked, yeah,
We seem to be missing a men's team.
somebody joked that the women's team should probably get the U.S. Soccer Twitter handle, and I don't entirely disagree. Um, all right, so I have a certain amount of disposable income I am willing to spend on soccer every year. And next year's kind of blown out. There's not going to be, from what I can tell, any US games that I really want to attend. But you know what I am attending? Do you know what I purchased today? And you know this, but we're going to pretend
I'm
like you don't.
aware. I'm aware.
We're going to pretend like you don't know the story for the
What?
viewer. For the viewer. I bought tickets today to Germany, Brazil in Berlin in March. It's a
You bought
friendly.
tickets to US Mexico? I didn't know we were playing.
Germany, Brazil were the countries I said, not US,
Hmm.
Mexico. And let me tell you about the process of buying it. So we're dealing with, I would argue, the two best teams in the world, probably two of the very best, if not the
Perhaps.
best. It's a friendly, and it's at the Olympia Stadion, the stadium where Hertha plays and where Hitler booed Jesse Owens. But so I'm thinking I'm going to have to pay like $200 a ticket or something. That's what I'm thinking going in. So a few weeks ago I signed up on the DFB website for an alert when the tickets went on sale, and they did. And so this morning I got on, and it was 25 euros, which is like $30.
Roughly, yeah. And maybe a little bit more. Yeah.
I paid so for 3 tickets to be shipped via DSL from Germany to my family, for my wife, me, and my son, less money than I paid one ticket to the U.S. Trinidad and Tobago qualifier in Denver, which is just insane. I
At
mean,
least it
that's
was at least it was the one in Denver, not the one in
yeah, I would have not
Trinidad.
enjoyed that. But I mean, it just goes to show that the Germans seem to think that there's some value in
People attending games.
people attending and not overcharging people. And granted, you could get expensive tickets to the game if you wanted to, but 25 euros to sit behind the goal, yeah, I'll do that any day. And you know, that's amazing. That's like we paid the last time I paid less than that for a soccer game, besides when the Chicago Fire were very bad. Uh, I think was probably maybe the 2007 Gold Cup or something like that, where it's been a long time since a U.S. soccer game cost that little. So for the two best teams in the world to have, I'm going to get to see like presumably like Neymar and Ozil and a lot of really good players, Thomas Mueller, uh, on the same field, and it's going to cost me 25 euros. Yeah, well done, Germany. I like that. We need that here. Anyway, what were we talking about? We have a manager. I don't know that it's an interim manager. I don't know that it's a caretaker manager. I think it's just a guy who's going to be in charge for a game. But
I I think it's
Dave
effectively
Sarachan,
just we
yeah,
went with it's sort of like if the coach died, we just took the next man up on the coaching staff and went, well, you're
we're
still under
doing this.
contract.
Yeah, we're doing this, and you can do this for us. So Dave Sarachan's going to be at the helm for a match. Which if you're a Chicago Fire fan from uh, 10 or 11 years ago, you remember him quite vividly. TJ's on the call, so we'll ask him. TJ, what was the first thing you thought of when you heard the name Dave Sarachan taking over for the U.S.?
Thought the same thing you kind of mentioned, that it was just a continuation of the same thing, in that when Bob Bradley left, Dave Sarachan took over there too. So it kind of fits in that same Marina,
Yeah.
Bruce Arena, Bob Bradley mold.
Yeah, I was
when
going to
he coached them, they were good.
That's true. That is true. They did not suck.
It reminded me way too much of actually even that, and then also Bob Bradley when he took over for Bruce. It was only going to be for a little bit, and how long did that last?
And you know who took over for Sarachan at the Fire? Juan Carlos Osorio.
That's right.
So there it is.
True.
They're all international players now, I guess. So it's fine. I think I tweeted whatever because that's my feeling. It's fine. I'm not overly worried about it. The question that Chris and I both had is, did Tab not want it? Did they not offer it? Grant Wall alluded to the fact a couple weeks, like maybe a week ago, that don't be surprised if Tab doesn't jump at the interim job. I wonder why he wouldn't, but maybe he's got a different end game plan than I would think he would want. But
because I don't think the interim job. I think the interim job is nothing more than an interim job.
And he's like,
and
yeah, okay.
I think he wants the real thing, and I kind of applaud him for that. Like, I do think he's probably the best positioned amongst the Americans to take it over.
Probably,
but
yeah.
Having said that, I don't think he's the guy I want right now either.
No, and I would be fine if he was hired, I guess. I wouldn't be like angry about it. Like if they hired Sarachan full time, I would be pretty pissed. But yeah, I mean, maybe Tab says, I'm not the interim guy. If you want me for the full time job, then consider me for that. Obviously, I think they're thinking big name again if they can do it, which means that if you're going to do that, you're waiting until May or possibly even after the World Cup for guys to become available. So,
which I mean, we talked about like right after the fact, even before Bruce stepped down. We said there's a good chance we may not have a coach for roughly a year, because what's the point? I mean, we don't need one, and what's he going to do? In that time, like there are no meaningful games. So the players he calls up. Does it matter?
I mean, I did hear there were people, soccer Twitter were going crazy about this, as they do about everything, and overreacting. And one of the common themes was, oh God, he's an MLS guy. It's just going to be another roster of 20-gram Zeusies. But I wouldn't. I mean, there was a report that he was going to reach out to Jonathan Gonzalez and try to get him to go to Portugal. This would obviously not cap tie him, but it would maybe get him feeling like he wants to stay with us. I don't know if there's any benefit to that, but probably doesn't hurt, right? I don't think it is going to be a team of MLS guys. I don't see, if you're in the playoffs, why he would call you and
interrupt. I mean, the thing is, many of the top guys in MLS are in the playoffs right now, or will have kind of maybe just finished their playoffs. So yeah, I don't see anyone heavily involved in MLS getting a call up here. Bradley, I don't think is going to make it. Josie's not going to make it. Even like Kleshton, say the Red Bulls get bounced here in the opening round, there's still the chance that, are you going to jump straight into a national team camp? That doesn't mean much. Not to mention, all three guys I named, I'm sorry, I don't think should. Maybe I'll give it to Josie. Some chances going forward, but for the most part, I don't feel like any of them should.
No, I think you're on the right path.
Be playing anymore,
Chris. You're absolutely on the right path with that, in the sense of none of these guys have all been playing. 6 months. Really was obviously 6-8 months. They're older. No, they don't figure later on. They all just give them some time off. Get some guys in. If anybody's going to be coming in out of MLS, they should be younger guys, not the older ones that you can pick up at any point. Give them a break. Let them recover. And I think all three of them, like you said, maybe Josie figures, but none of the rest of them figure that much anymore. So go with some young guys. And I think I saw it up in the chat box. Yeah, Tab didn't want the interim Tab, and that was kind of ironically enough, but he's not young. That was the other thing I noticed. He's not young anymore. He's 51.
Well, no, I mean, he's 50. Yeah, I was going to say 51. You know, okay, maybe he's getting to be the right age, but nonetheless, he is, you know, not in a position to need to. But well, he's not in a position where like he has to have this job now, or he's just never going to get it. And I think right now is the time for like a, you know, kind of a bit of a revolution. And he's been a great player, or you know, great part of the cog in the wheel, I guess you could say, of making like Klinsmann's plans come true. He was the guy sort of tasked with that. That makes him sort of like a technical director. Do you want to make someone like that your coach, and then you either have to replace him at the position that he seems to be succeeding at, or you have to give him the reins of both? And we've seen that maybe that doesn't always pay out.
Go ahead, DJ.
I was just going to say, I'm starting to wonder how many people can really do that job. And really, when you look at it in any major sport anymore, where you have the GM and coach/manager label, you know, in, like I said, in any big time sport, you don't see it very often anymore because there's so much statistical analysis that goes into it, and the scouting and reading it. It's just, there's so much more to it than they're used to. I don't see that being something that's going to happen a lot going forward. Yeah, you're still going to have managers that are going to give a lot of feedback, you know, like Jose Mourinho, et cetera, et cetera. But as we get further on, I don't see that somebody going to be able to wear dual hats like that anymore.
Yeah,
I don't think they should.
I think that's probably fair.
And like we've said before, I think Jurgen would have been fine to stay as technical director only after the 2014 World Cup. I think he was good at that part. He just wasn't a great manager on the field. So,
you know, the thing about bringing in like name guys or big picture guys to be the next coach, there is an element of that, the value of a figurehead. You know, Klinsmann did have some pluses to him that weren't strictly on paper. You know, there were some things about him that were more valuable than perhaps what you could write down on paper.
People would take his calls.
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, you bring in Carlo Ancelotti, for instance, and this is in no way suggesting that he would become the coach or should become the coach or that I want him as coach, whatever. I'm just saying, like, naming some guy who like happens to be out there. So say you bring in Carlo Ancelotti, the very fact you have him will get you in the door with certain players, or in certain circumstances will get you attention. And, you know, maybe that turns into other things of value for your broader organization. Is he the guy to do something like this? I don't want to get into that argument. I'm just saying that, you know, when you have a name, when you have a face, when you are a recognized brand, essentially, within world soccer, there is value to your persona that U.S. soccer can use. And Tab Ramos may have that in the United States amongst the soccer community, but he doesn't have it beyond that.
Is that a case of maybe that's part of what Klinsmann had in terms of recruiting some of the players he did and getting them into the pool? Was he had a little bit of a brand more so than any, you know, like you said, like a Bruce Arena or Bob Bradley, at least on a global stage, and that got some of those guys in that may not have come in with Bob Bradley, for example? Or
Healthy Style just gave a list of players to keep and included Mixed Discarud on it. I think we've already gotten rid of him.
And Clint Dempsey and Clint
Dempsey
Cameron.
Is
I mean,
35, 36. He's done.
Dempsey's done for sure. Cameron essentially is done for sure. I've said before, everyone over roughly 25 right now. I might go to 27 if
I'm advocating for a Kid Rock Jeff Cameron presidential ticket. That's just me.
Mix, is that you? No, it's and Fabian's gone. I mean, he said he was going to be done after this next World Cup. It was cool to see him score over the weekend. I still wish the guy well. Like somebody's like, after I tweeted, you know, Fabian scored or whatever, somebody jumped on me like, you know, he's done. He's not going to be here. Well, I mean, I still wish him well. Like, I don't want Landon to die, even though he's retired. Like, he's a guy who I still like. But some people asked about the Atlanta United fans booing Josie and Bradley. I'm fine with it, honestly. Like I've said in the past, I have a hard time booing I'm a country over club guy, and I know Chris is too. I have a hard time booing our national team guys when they're playing against the Fire, but
although to some extent that depends, because yeah, you're right. Like when Dempsey was with the Revolution, I remember a couple games where like everyone was going nuts against him, like when we were in Section 8 and stuff, just booing the hell out of him. And we were like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. No, I want him to be good for the U.S.
yeah,
Back kind of early in his national team career. Having said that, like Twellman, well, we mocked that dude playing for the U.S. like anywhere we saw him. Like, although to some extent, I think he takes it in a good-natured way too. So, so maybe
yeah.
there's a difference. But like Matt Reese,
If
who also was on the coaching staff, is on the coaching staff, I guess.
who knows who's on the coaching
Oh
staff?
God, I used to hammer that dude. I never liked him. I always hated him.
He was up there with there was a string of celebrities who died after you declared that you hated them. And I was worried for Matt Reese for a long time because you really hated that guy.
But he was a bald before it was, trendy.
Yeah,
Men in
before it was
Blazers
cool.
cool. Bald, yeah. See, I've never had a problem booing Deuce even with Seattle, and I think it's just because, well, Sounders kind of come across as a bunch of douches, and he kind of fits into that mold. So I still have no problem booing Deuce, but when when he wears the national team jersey, I could still cheer for him.
I'm fine with it. I mean, if you're trying to create a home field advantage for your team, it's fine. If you're trying to send a message that you guys failed, it's fine. I mean, Josie's a guy, like I've said before, he seems like out of the whole team, I think I would most want to hang out with Josie. He seems like a really cool dude. So I have a hard time. I know Chris doesn't, but I have a hard time. Like if a guy seems cool personally, I have a hard time hating him. Chris will hate you to the end of your life. He actually
Dirty
literally
Sanchez.
did hate Kirby Puckett to the end of his life for just relatively minor things. It's funny, but
now see, well, that's Chris though. You're talking about people that hate and perpetually hate. I don't know. I going back to Matt Reese, I could see Matt Reese being a fun guy to just absolutely sit at a bar and just get absolutely torched with. I think that would be a lot of fun. I would think Mix would be cool because you have no idea what kind of drugs he's going to bring with him.
Oh, Leipzig's here.
Leipzig.
Wow. You guys,
Party's
he's
returned,
back. I guess it's all right. Drink up. Speaking of drinking up, in that Atlanta-Toronto game, I did think it was cool when Giovinco took a drink of the beer that Josie tried to give the header to after it was thrown at them after they scored. That was pretty funny. So, more of that. And one Atlanta fan on Twitter wanted them fined or something because you can't drink alcohol during games if you're a player or something like that. Some ridiculous extrapolation of what was a simple little joke. So,
and then you get into okay, fine them. What happens to your organization because you guys threw the beer at them?
Right, exactly. So I don't advocate throwing beers at players, but I do advocate players picking them up and drinking out of them. Sort of like when Landon put the sunglasses on.
Yeah,
it's a power move. I like it. We should talk about Eric Wynalda.
We should. We've not gotten to that yet, and I think that is that'll be a big one for a lot of people.
I know he doesn't have John Harkes' vote, but he is running for USSF president, and he's got some ideas. He threw out some ideas over the weekend at a forum. The fall to spring calendar. So he wants to switch MLS to be like most of the rest of the world in when we play. And he also threw out pro rel as things that he would try to force upon the game as USSF director. Now, I don't know how he can directly do that. I mean, unless he's going to try to remove MLS's sanctioning as a top division, which would be a gigantic court battle, I would think.
It would be a court battle. Yeah. His presidency would last about as long as it took for him to sign his name for the first time. You got to remember, behind MLS, and I say this constantly, follow the money. There is the MLS owners have more money than Soccer United Marketing. They have more money than God. Go ahead and try that. See how that works. Try to put any of those changes that MLS owners don't want or don't care, don't think too highly of. Watch the sponsors walk away. Watch things like that happen, And now it's down. Now it's all done for.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep coming back to the simple fact. I think Sunil, if he chooses to run, will likely win again, because that's what it comes down to, is when you have sponsors with the amount of money that they invest, if that's who they favor and they say, hey, we don't like it, we may pull our sponsorship, or we may pull our donations or our grants. And remember, there's a whole fundraising arm behind USSF as well. If you don't like who's in charge of it, you're not going to put your money there. It now hurts even more than, so what, you get your changes you like. Yeah, that would be outstanding though. Chicago in January.
Yeah,
no.
I mean, there's.
Well,
I used to hate the idea, but because I selfishly like going to games in the summer. I don't like baseball that much. I like to have something to do in the summer. It works out. But I'm coming around on it because I can't stand when MLS plays over tournaments. Like,
Yep.
it drives me nuts, and it's like it's Bush League, and I hate it. So I think that maybe it is a good idea. You'd have to load up the schedule. You'd have to take a winter break, and then surrounding the winter break, you couldn't play in places like Chicago. And you know, winter break's not unheard of. A lot of leagues do that. So I think it could work. And then it would leave just international games over the summer, which I guess I'd be fine with. But I don't know that. While I think it's like kind of two-tiered. I think that's a good idea, and I think in concept Pro Rel is a good idea too, although I don't see it ever happening here. I don't know, especially with the winter calendar, that fixes the national team.
No, it doesn't. I do think it has value for getting guys, like kind of everyone in healthy at the same time, or in the same training cycle. But beyond that, yeah, it's not like just because we play on a, roughly speaking, European cycle that suddenly we're a better team. I like it because I do agree, and this is one of Wynalda's points, that what's the point in having your premier game, your championship, right in the middle of college football, college basketball, NFL, like the World Series probably is just wrapped at that point. It's well, I guess if it's pushed to the first week of December, that's out. But you've got a lot of kind of big time sports that you're up against, and it gets shuffled off to some second or third tier station or something where it just doesn't get the kind of billing that you might hope for, or that they would certainly like to give it. On top of it, I do think there's a way to make it work, even with the weather. You take a winter break, kind of like most of Europe does, especially the northern parts of Europe, and then you just probably stack the season a little bit. So the northern climates have more games at the beginning and end of the season, and the southern climates have more in the center of the season, in the coldest months.
And now I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because that's, and being able to tell Chris he's an idiot is always one of my more favorite things to do. Here's why it doesn't work. Yes, the championship game going against the NFL, the college football, starting to see beginnings of college basketball. Yeah, it doesn't work as well. However, you're talking about stacking the schedule at the beginning of October, end of April. Kids are in school. That matters here. It always has. Look at your attendances once school starts in any sport, that plays through the summer. Look at baseball attendance prior to when school starts or prior when school gets out. It matters. I mean, simple case in point. Tomorrow night, the Fire start at 7:30. I'm not going. Why? Because it starts at 7:30 on a school night for Charlie. We can't go. So I agree with, in concept of the winter break. Yes, I agree. It's doable. A lot of countries do it. Germany does it. I think somebody said Portugal. Russia does it for like 6 months because, well, that's all they have really. But the only ones who really don't do the winter break is England. And that's what everybody follows. But my point being is that's why they won't do it. And that's why they try to stay away from it, is because they want the summer money. They want that. The only thing they have going against most of the year is baseball. And if your league gets good enough, and then that's a whole existential question, it'll stand on its own legs. You'll get interest during the season. And then when the playoffs come, you will have that interest maintained. But you got to get there. And I mean, like I said, now we're into an existential question. I really don't feel like going into that tonight. So, but school year, that's why they want to stay away from it.
The other question with Eric Wynalda is he's obviously a guy who's wanted a job in soccer for a long time and has never gotten it because people believe, rightly or wrongly, that he may be a little crazy, a little bit of a loose cannon, a guy who's not willing to play by the rules that they're putting in place, which I think Eric thinks, well, fuck it, then I'll be the president of USSF and I'll make the rules. If you guys aren't going to include me, I'll change the game. I would assume, I mean, I don't know, but I would assume that's part of his thinking. Not only does he believe he can fix it, but not only does he believe he can fix it, which I totally believe he thinks he can, but I think that's got to be a driving force for him too.
One of the things I was going to note before is, while we've been talking about all this, discussing all this, we are taking what he said at kind of face value. And Wynalda definitely has a long history of maybe he says things that are a little over the top, and then they, either he gets away with it because he's just a talking head, or he loses his job because he picked a fight with somebody. But
and are you talking fight like verbal, or are you talking actual fist fight when it comes to Wynalda?
When he challenged Jim Rome to that fight, which I got to say I always loved because I've never been able to stand Jim Rome. Anyway, my bigger point, I guess, is just that, Wynalda is spouting a lot of ideas, but I don't think you should be taking it seriously. I think a lot of it can be taken with a grain of salt. When it truly comes down to it, whoever, if it's him, if it's going to be Sunil, but if it could be him or even someone else as USSF president, the number of changes you're truly going to see are probably pretty. It's a small number, if at all, because in the end, money's going to rule it, and there's too much power to it all. There's too much value to certain stakeholders who aren't going to give it up.
I think TJ just left the show.
TJ was just like, yeah, fuck this.
I can't handle what he's saying. I'm just leaving. MLS playoffs they start tomorrow. We are.
Yeah, how about that?
Almost there. Red Bull's playing. They're at the Fire. San Jose is at Vancouver. Those are both tomorrow. And then Thursday, Atlanta hosts Colorado and Houston hosts Sporting KC. Do you have any major feelings about any of these games?
Well, Atlanta Columbus is interesting to me because one, it is Atlanta's first season, but also Columbus with this possibility that the crew could be moving, which, by the way, has anyone seen, tell me I'm not the only one, somebody got Biz Marquee to do a, oh, baby, you got to save the crew. It's hilarious. You can tell he doesn't want to do it. But it's just hilarious to me that somebody found Biz Marquee and then got him to say something about this. Anyway, it raises a lot of, interest to me, I guess, in that Atlanta, with the crowds they get, Andrew Carrollton could be back from U17 play. Now, granted, he hasn't had a lot of major minutes for Atlanta, but he did look really good in the World Cup. So could he come back and show some of that now because he's in form or whatever? And then on top of it, you've got the crew thing where, while they're really hot right now, will they be able to hold together because they're not focused on this because they're all wondering, will I have a job or do I have to move in a few weeks? Or kind of the inverse of that, could they be looking to win it all as either a way to show that they want the team to stay or as a send-off gift or something?
They're there next year no matter what, right? If the move happens, it would happen after next season. By the way, I'm an idiot. I said Colorado. I believe I meant Columbus. I have COL written down.
I thought you did, but I just went with it.
Yeah, because I am dumb. Sorry about that. Obviously, Colorado nowhere near the playoffs. So that'll be an interesting one. I think ultimately Atlanta's going to win that game. I don't have a strong feeling. I think Vancouver wins against the Fighting Wandos too. I don't have a strong feeling on the Fire game. It's hard to, as a Fire fan, think that even though they were much better this year, that they might do anything in the playoffs. I'm conditioned.
It's hard to believe in them. Yeah.
I'm conditioned to think that even at Schweinsteiger's probably back and Nikolic has been great. I think they might lose. I don't know. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But and then the other game, I don't care who wins that game. I don't have a Houston and Sporting, whatever. We'll
I might go Sporting KC for the defense, but yeah, whatever. It means the game essentially. Like I have no dog in that fight. I don't care for either team. Whatever.
Yeah. Christian wants us to say hashtag save the crew. So there we go. Texas doesn't deserve another team. They don't even like the teams they have. I like Austin. It's a fine city.
Austin's cool, but you can't. Columbus can't let the crew go away. I have trouble believing that U.S. Soccer would truly allow this. That with the kind of tradition, the heritage, whatever that U.S. Soccer's built up there, that they don't want to keep some kind of foothold there. That they don't want to keep something in place there. And if the crew go away, I assume that means the stadium is dismantled.
I mean, I shit on the stadium all the time. They need better
it's
stadium.
Out of date. It needs to be updated.
But you could fix that stadium to be fine, or move. But Columbus needs a team. Save the crew, please. The Fire need a somewhat local rival. So there you go. Black and gold. Do it upright. Whatever. Catchphrases. Do you have anything else on your list? I know Weston McKennie played today for like 30 minutes in the Pokal. People said he looked fine, but I didn't see it, so I can't really comment on it. Pulisic did not play. He didn't even make the trip, but neither did like Aubameyang or I think Mario Götze. Some of their big names for Dortmund didn't even make the trip. So kind of cool that Pulisic was included in the bunch that didn't make the trip because they're too big of stars to go to such a game. So that's kind of cool.
Kind of like he may be in a couple weeks.
Yeah, does he play in that game?
I kind of hope not. Like on the one hand, I want him to because why not go play against Cristiano Ronaldo if Ronaldo plays? On the other, I can't even predict. Like I've started trying to think who could get called up to this. And beyond some of the obvious who I could say won't, probably because of their MLS commitments, I have no clue. Because I don't know if U.S. Soccer really has the balls to just go all in on youth. Or if we'll, candy ass this and bring in a bunch of guys who, were already in this cycle, already lost us the chance at a World Cup, and we're just going to trot them out again for a meaningless game. To me, that'll be even more worthless. Like that should just go down as a black mark on everyone if that's what happens. Everyone at U.S. Soccer, anyway.
No, I mean, there's an opportunity here to be had, and I hope they take it. There are people who we would be interested in seeing, and at least that's a bright point in the otherwise shitty.
I do agree with Mario that Weston McKennie and Jonathan Gonzalez need to get called up quickly. The problem still is we can't cap tie dual nationals. I'd love to go all youth and get Jonathan Gonzalez if he would come, Weston McKennie, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Matt Miazga, just while we're throwing out kind of young guys and things. But guys like Carter-Vickers, we can't cap tie them. Jonathan Gonzalez is a perfect example. Now, with the commitment that he has said, that he's stated previously, you would think maybe he's going to lean to the U.S. Having said that, we have another Gonzalez, Jesse Gonzalez, who recently said, "Oh, I'm in for Mexico," and a month later, put in his paperwork to come play for the U.S. So, what does it mean? I don't know. Does it mean anything if they've committed to us at this point, unless they can't switch anymore?
And we may never be able to cap tie guys in the current sense of the way it is now, because FIFA's looking at blowing up the whole system and allowing people to switch after they play a game or two. So
which is ridiculous.
Even if we do get to 2019 and we do get to cap tie the guys we want, and we've kept everybody we want and hold them in place, we still need to hold them for even longer now if they're going to switch the rules. I hope they don't, because I talked about this a long time ago on the show, but in international basketball, you can play for whomever you want. Like I know a guy, a friend I used to work with, her husband plays for the Croatian national team, or at least he did. He's not Croatian. He's a black dude from the U.S. who got a Croatian passport. It might not have even been
Is
Croatia.
it,
It was somewhere in Eastern Europe that he played for their national team. I think there's a lot of these cases in basketball, and it's stupid. You want some tie to
is
the
it Henry
country.
Dahmerkamp?
Yes.
His wife, we both worked with, by the way.
That's true.
Sure.
You did work with her. I forgot you worked there. I forget this about you sometimes. Good people though. They're very nice people. I'm sure they watch the show. But yeah, you don't want a situation where anybody can play for anybody as long as they offer the right amount of money and get you a passport quick, where Malta could suddenly be the Greek international power because the
Greek baseball team at the Olympics.
Exactly. So I don't want that. Like, I like that you have to have I like that there are rules, like the famous Big Lebowski quote. This isn't Nam. There are rules, Walter. I like that there are rules. It's the one thing that FIFA does okay. One of the very few. And now they're going to talk about screwing it all up. And of course, the reason being is it lets a lot more money into it. Come over here, come switch. We'll get you whatever. So,
somebody just said to talk about the NASL lawsuit. Oh, Alex, I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago, didn't we? I assume you mean the antitrust one, Alex. Nothing's going to come of it. I mean, if I'm being honest, nothing's going to come of it. In the end, they don't have the money to do anything. U.S. soccer, MLS, some altogether, whatever, all those groups, there's enough money to fight everything. And I actually probably would agree with NASL that it is in need of an antitrust lawsuit, or there is grounds for an antitrust lawsuit. But yeah, good luck proving that. When's the last time someone was broken up, like a company was broken up over something like that? AT&T, Bell Telephone?
AT&T. Yeah.
Yeah. 40 years ago, basically.
Bring in the hammer. Yeah. Obviously, the trend always goes the other way. All right. I think we've hit the end of this thing. This is USFanTV. We have a website. It is USFanTV.com. We have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. They are all USFanTV. We're on Twitter a lot more than anything else. We're bad about Instagram and Facebook. We need to be better. We're sorry. We apologize. We have YouTube. You know that because you're currently watching YouTube right now at this very moment. Subscribe if you haven't. We have lots and lots of
Go to the little subscribe button.
Yeah. Touch the button wherever is it there or is it there? I don't remember the way it's all twisted around in my brain, but subscribe. And we're almost to 1,100 subscribers, which is ridiculous and insane for us, but keep it going. We like it. It makes us happy. And tell 80 of your friends. That's the number I want you to do. Go find 8 friends. I don't have 8 friends. I don't think. Neither does Chris. We're really just aren't each other's only friend. But if you have 8 friends, go tell 8 friends to subscribe to USFanTV and to.
It'd be a pyramid scheme.
That's exactly what I'm setting up here. And then they're going to bring in people. It's going to be like those stretchy pants or the cleaning products or any of the stupid pyramid schemes that people think I'm going to have a home office and I'm going to have my own business. Yeah. Don't you see how this works? It all diminishes when you get lower in the pyramid, people. That's for this. We should talk about this really in our other YouTube channel. We hate pyramid scheme fantv.com. It's not for now. Chris, do you have any final words?
No, I do have one thing. So everyone else has gotten their T-shirts. I, of course, have not. They did figure it out. They sent it to my old address. It's being returned to them, and they're going to send it to me. So the problem has been rectified, or will be soon. But yes, I will be the last person, of course, to get their T-shirt. So yeah, if anybody wants to go to Bonfire and buy a T-shirt, you'll get it before me.
I haven't put up a second run of those yet, so yeah, I don't think you technically even can. I think you can like register if I do a second run of them, but if 5 of you want a T-shirt, let me know, and I'll post it again, and you can go buy one. But yeah, the first T-shirts are here. They look good. I should have worn it tonight, but I forgot. So there we go. Dave Sarachan, whatever. Eric Wynalda, decent ideas, but will it matter? Will he actually get the job? Probably not. We hope. Probably won't. MLS playoffs, yeah, they're happening. We're not like super excited about anything these days, are we? At
My joy was killed nigh on 2 weeks ago.
least Arsenal looked good over the weekend. There's that.
There's
They put
that.
together one game.
Although they killed much of my joy the week before that, so
They did do that, and there's no reason as an
to
Arsenal
trust
fan
them at all.
ever put your stock in them, because they will rip your heart out. All right, guys. We're doing the shows Tuesdays and Thursdays. Maybe we'll be here Thursdays. We said sometimes we're going to take Thursday nights off, and we took last Thursday night off. So maybe we'll do it again. Maybe we won't. We'll see. If there's stuff going on, we'll be here. If there's nothing going on, we probably won't be. Until then, you are done.
You're done.